What if I told you that the very thing people call your weakness is actually your greatest weapon? Stay with me, because what I'm about to share will completely transform how you see yourself forever. Carl Jung said that those who feel too much are not broken, they're simply operating on a frequency most people will never access. And if you've ever been told you're too sensitive, too emotional, or too much, this is for you. Here are 8 truths every empath needs to hear right now. And trust me, by number 8, you'll understand why people have been lying to you your whole life. According to Carl Jung's research on psychological types, what society calls oversensitivity is actually advanced pattern recognition. You're not reading too much into things. You're reading what's actually there. Jung discovered that empaths possess what he called intuitive perception, the ability to sense what others miss entirely. When someone tells you you're being too sensitive, what they're really saying is that your awareness makes them uncomfortable. Because here's what Jung understood that most people don't. Emotional intelligence threatens those who operate from deception. Your sensitivity isn't the problem. Their inability to match your depth is. Listen carefully to what comes next, because this changes everything. Carl Jung discovered something profound about emotional boundaries. He called it psychological contagion, the tendency to take on others' emotional states as if they were your own. But here's the twist that will blow your mind. Empathy was never meant to be self-destruction disguised as compassion. Jung said that the most evolved individuals learn to witness suffering without drowning in it. You can feel someone's pain without making it your responsibility to fix. You can understand their struggle without carrying their burden. This isn't coldness, it's what Jung termed conscious compassion, the ability to care deeply while maintaining your psychological sovereignty. And when you finally understand this distinction, everything shifts. According to Carl Jung's theory of individuation, there comes a moment when you must choose yourself. Not out of selfishness, but out of survival. Jung observed that empaths often confuse loyalty with self-abandonment. They stay in toxic situations, believing that leaving would make them as heartless as those who hurt them. But Jung discovered something revolutionary. The most compassionate act is sometimes the boundary you set. Walking away from someone who drains you isn't cruelty. It's what Jung called psychological self-preservation. You're not abandoning them. You're finally choosing yourself. And that choice, Jung said, is where true transformation begins. But here's where it gets absolutely fascinating. Carl Jung had a term for this, and it's absolutely game-changing. He called it the wounded healer archetype. Every betrayal you've survived, every manipulation you've endured, every time someone exploited your kindness, it wasn't breaking you, it was forging you. Jung discovered that those who experience deep emotional wounds early develop what he termed compensatory strength. You don't just heal from betrayal, you become immune to its future forms. Every person who used you taught you to recognize the patterns. Every narcissist who targeted you sharpened your discernment. Jung understood that suffering, when consciously processed, becomes wisdom. And here's what will send chills down your spine. The empath who has been burned doesn't fear the fire anymore. They've learned to recognize the smoke before it starts. According to Carl Jung, there's a difference between seeking understanding and seeking permission. Most empaths have been conditioned to over-explain their feelings, to justify their boundaries, to prove their pain is valid. But Jung discovered something liberating. Those who truly respect you won't need an explanation, and those who don't respect you won't accept one anyway. Jung called this psychological autonomy. The moment you stop explaining yourself to people who are determined to misunderstand you, you're not being difficult. You're being discerning. You're not withholding communication. You're refusing to participate in manipulative conversations designed to make you doubt yourself. What happens next will redefine everything you thought about relationships. Carl Jung said that the most powerful transformations happen not in the noise of connection, but in the silence of self-reflection. Empaths need solitude the way others need oxygen. It's not antisocial, it's essential. Jung termed this psychological reset, the necessary withdrawal to process the emotional data you've absorbed. When you feel drained after being around people, that's not introversion. That's your psyche telling you it's reached capacity. Jung discovered that empaths require regular periods of isolation to separate their emotions from everyone else's, to remember who they are beneath all the energy they've been managing. Solitude isn't you hiding from the world. It's you returning to yourself. And in that return, Jung said, you find your greatest power. But the next truth is what changes everything permanently. According to Carl Jung's research on the collective unconscious, empaths instinctively want to connect at a soul level. But here's what Jung discovered that most empaths learn too late. Depth is sacred. Not everyone has earned the right to your vulnerability. Not everyone can handle the intensity of your truth. Jung called this discernment of intimacy. The wisdom to know that your emotional depth is a gift, not an obligation. You don't owe everyone your story. You don't owe everyone your energy. You don't owe everyone access to the most vulnerable parts of yourself. When you finally understand that your depth is precious, you stop casting pearls before swine. You stop exhausting yourself trying to connect with people who only want surface-level interaction. You save your depth for those rare individuals who can actually hold it. And Jung discovered that this selectivity doesn't make you less loving. It makes you more whole. Carl Jung said that individuation, the process of becoming your authentic self, is often met with resistance from those who benefited from your lack of boundaries. When you stop being the person who always gives, always forgives, always sacrifices, people will accuse you of changing. And here's what Jung wants you to know. They're absolutely right. You have changed. You've evolved. You've integrated your shadow. You've reclaimed your power. And Jung discovered that this transformation terrifies those who relied on your compliance. The people who love the doormat version of you will hate the empowered version. The ones who exploited your empathy will call you cold when you set boundaries. The narcissists who fed on your energy will claim you're cruel when you walk away. But Jung understood something profound. Their discomfort with your growth is proof you're doing it right. You're not becoming less compassionate. You're becoming more discerning. You're not losing your heart. You're finally gaining your backbone. And the empath who has learned to say no, Jung discovered, becomes unstoppable. Carl Jung spent his entire career studying the human psyche, and his greatest insight was this: within every sensitive soul lies the potential for profound strength. Your empathy is not your curse. It's your superpower once you learn to wield it consciously. You feel deeply because you're meant to understand deeply. You hurt intensely because you love fiercely. You've been betrayed repeatedly because you've been teaching yourself discernment. Every painful experience has been preparing you for this moment of awakening. Jung called it the return to the self, the moment when you stop apologizing for your sensitivity and start celebrating it. When you stop dimming your light for those who prefer darkness. When you finally understand that being an empath doesn't mean being everyone's emotional support animal. It means being someone who has transformed their greatest vulnerability into their most powerful asset. And that, according to Carl Jung's lifetime of research, is absolutely magnificent. Thank you for staying with me through these 8 truths. If this resonated with you, share it with another empath who needs to hear this right now. Because the world doesn't need you to be smaller. It needs you to be exactly who you're becoming.